Hi, I'm Rory Daniels, techUK's Program Manager for Emerging Technologies, and in this episode of our Meet the Innovators series, I'm here with 𝗪𝗲𝗏𝗀𝗧𝗏, UK Managing Director at Sharkmob, part of the Tencent family. So James, thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. First question, just what does Sharkmob do?
Yeah, so we are a AAA video games developer. We primarily make games for PC and console. This studio here in London was founded in 2020, and we have a Swedish parent company based in Malmö, Sweden, who were founded in 2017. We make AAA games primarily for PC and console. We focus on making fairly action-packed online games. And we have 3 games in our portfolio at the moment as a Sharkmob company. One is called Blood Hunt, which was previously released, set in the 𝗪𝗵𝗶 the universe. Our second game has recently been announced. It's coming out soon. It's called 𝗪𝗪𝗶𝗀𝗏𝗀. It's a tactical open-world extraction shooter set in a post-apocalyptic United States that's been ravaged by climate disaster. And our third project is being homed here in the UK studio. I can't say too much about that, unfortunately, as it's still not been announced, but it's very much in keeping with the kind of games that Sharkmob love to make. And then we're also part of the wider Tencent family. We were acquired by Tencent in 2019. Tencent have been really pivotal to our journey that's taken us from kind of our original small number of founders back in 2020 to where we are today, just over 100 people. Really believe in our vision from day one and have supported us every step of the way with resource, with knowledge, with guidance. And I say that's been really instrumental to getting us to where we are today.
Sure. No, it sounds like there's a lot that you've done already and a lot more exciting projects to come.
It's been an adventurous 3 years, and I think it's going to continue over the next few, for sure.
I'm sure. And so, I take it that when you develop these games and you have to work with a whole host of stakeholders to make that happen. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process?
Yeah, of course. So there's a lot of stakeholders who work with both, I say internally within the Tencent family and externally as well. Internally, we have a partner studio over in Sweden. We work with a ton of different teams within the Tencent family, both here in Europe and in China as well. We mainly here focus on making video games, and we do rely on partnerships with a ton of specialists outside of our own studio, be that art houses, engineering houses, more specialist teams that handle the cinematics, VFX, motion capture, music composition, all of these things. So we do very much partner up on a number of different fronts. When I'm looking outside of the games industry to wider tech, there are, I'd say, a lot of overlaps between innovative tech that's driving games forward and technology that I think is exciting to the wider tech ecosystem. Unsurprisingly, AI is a very large one. And so we do talk to and partner up with kind of tech industries outside of the video games industry when and where it makes sense to do so. And actually, we've made really good friends with organisations like London and Partners who've helped us connect with those tech companies that we're not kind of organically in touch with on a day-to-day, where as and when we need to. It's been really helpful.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I've been delighted to have Tencent on various panels and in roundtables as well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to bringing Sharkmob more into what we do as well.
We would love to do that.
I'm sure, yeah. So here we are in Sharkmob's esports room. So James, tell us about where we are today.
Yeah, so this room was originally, I'll be honest, set up for fun. We have a lot of people who play video games here, unsurprisingly, and we wanted a place where during downtime people could break away and play largely competitive games in a setup that's like a kind of an esports cafe, games like League of Legends and things like that. But it has become a really useful part of how we make games. It's probably become the best place we've got for reviewing games together. And when we have visitors coming in who want to check out what we're doing, it's a great place to do it as well. We can get a bunch of people playing and a bunch of people sat here watching. Got a TV just kind of off camera here where we can stream individual feeds. So it's become great for reviews, great for stakeholder meetings, great for a ton of stuff really. So it's still there for fun, but it's become a very functional part of how we do our work day to day.
Yeah, sure. So a dual purpose.
Yeah, which is great. It's in use a lot of the time.
I can imagine. Yeah, and so just kind of pivoting and looking a bit more broadly, Sharkmob has a vision, I take it, for the UK's tech sector.
Yeah.
Are you able to kind of outline a bit about just what that is?
Yeah, and I can talk about a few levels, I guess, at the tech level in general, at video games, and then for us here at Sharkmob. I think it's probably unsurprising for me to say that the video games industry is going through pretty turbulent times right now. I know the wider tech sector is as well, and it feels like you can't go more than a week without hearing about another spate of redundancies, both in video games and the wider tech scene. So this is more of a hope than vision, but I'm hoping very soon we see a degree of stability. But looking longer term, I'd love to see the industry start working in a more sustainable fashion, where we don't have this boom or bust nature of almost over-investing during the good times and being incredibly cautious during the down times. I think we can do better as a, let's say, a tech ecosystem to smooth that curve out if we are more pragmatic in how we approach investments, funding, and various other aspects of how we run our businesses. So I say that's more of a hope than a vision, but it would be good to get there. I think looking at the games industry, the UK, in my opinion, in the early days of the video games industry, was the thought leader in terms of creative output and technical innovation in the industry. And I think it's sad to say we have lost our crown a little bit. Depending on the type of game or the type of tech we're looking at, the US, Canada, parts of Europe, I'd say are ahead of us these days. And it's selfish as a UK game developer, but I would love to see that crown come back our way. And I think there's work we need to do in a bunch of different areas to get there. One is improving the funding situation in the UK and the access to funds for the video games industry. I'd say we're at a time where we're sadly being outpaced by a lot of other countries when it comes to support for the video games industry, particularly early startups. It's looking at education and how we build a better workforce coming into the games industry, both in terms of helping graduates come out of university with the skills they really need to step into making games professionally, but also looking at how we can support people who might not be able to go to university, who have talent, who we can take from college or high school. It's something that we're talking a lot about here at the moment, about how can we support in the long term to really help people out here in the studio. And I think it's about promoting the UK again. We lost a lot of talent historically to other countries, and it'd be great to bring those people back and also attract other talent from overseas. We've been very fortunate here in Sharkmob London that we have a very, very international workforce. People from all over the world work here, and it would be great to see that happening more generally across the UK. I think something that we're big on supporting is the London Games Festival. Myself and Emily, who you've met earlier today, are members of the advisory board. And that festival is really about promoting the great work games companies around London and the wider UK are doing on an international stage. And I think we need to bang our own drum a bit more often and talk about the great work we're doing to stand out really on the international crowd. And I guess lastly, if I'm looking just at Sharkmob, I'd say that I've got two big aspirations. We haven't announced or released our first game yet, so releasing that is a big one, and hopefully it is very commercially successful, but as important, if not more importantly for us die-hard game devs, critical success as well. We want to make something that our fans really love. So hopefully in the next few years we're sat down with our fans kind of screaming and shouting about the great things we've done, and they're looking forward to what comes next. And secondly, from a studio point of view, we're still growing. We were a startup a couple of years ago. We're now moving into kind of scale-up phase. We've still got a lot of growth to do. And I hope that in a few years, you can come visit a much bigger studio that is still true to the original culture tenets that we set up in those early days, which were about building a studio full of creativity, full of technical innovation, but as important to that, a team that have a high degree of trust amongst one another, that really respect one another, because we're big believers that's how you get the best creative output and the best technical innovation. And again, just importantly, a place where people are having fun making video games. Games are fun, it should be fun to make them as well, and that's kind of an atmosphere that we want to have in the studio. So let's hope that we're able to kind of keep that going as we grow the team.
Fantastic. And James, final question, just how do you benefit from techUK membership?
Yes, that's an interesting question. We at Sharkmob are not actually members of techUK, but our parent company Tencent is a very proud member. And so we're able to use Tencent as a bit of a bridge to techUK to kind of have access to your wider communities, the insights you're able to provide, which is amazing. However, I think it'd be great if this was the start of a much longer conversation. It'd be great for techUK and Sharkmob London to kind of work out how we can work more closely moving forward, because I think there are a lot of synergies in the things that we are doing. And it would be amazing to make more use of that moving forward.
Absolutely, yeah, we'd love to. Well, thank you, James, for showing us around, and yeah, we'll continue to look to work together.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming and joining us.
No worries.